Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and merciful. I'm Dr. Noman Ali Zanfer. I'm a senior registrar in neurology at INS London. And today we will talk about writing a research paper. There are a lot of presentations and materials available on how to write a research paper. But 90% of the time they become very technical and they become very difficult to understand. The main objective of doing this presentation is to simplify it for doctors, old trainees, foundation doctors, and junior doctors on how to start writing a research paper. Research is an important part of our area progression nowadays, and we know we need at least 2 research papers as first authors in a peer-reviewed journal to be qualified for Caesar pathway as well. So let's start. The objective of this presentation is how to write a research paper, what is a basic structure of writing a research article, what are the different terminologies associated with research, how to cite, and how to add references in a research, creating a Google Scholar profile, or how to use a Google Scholar, role of ChatGPT in research, plagiarism, and paraphrasing, and we will have a brief look on how to write a case report or a clinical audit. This is for Pakistanis only. In order to progress from senior registrar to assistant professor and associate and professor level, Pakistan Medical and Dental Council, they have set numbers of research articles that you can see on the screen that how you can progress in your areas. The most important topic of research methodology is topic selection. This is the most difficult part that doctors they observe that on what topic they should write a research. So the topic for selection should be significant. It should have subjectivity. And what I do for my research papers is that, for example, I'm a urologist and I want to do a research in benign prostate enlargement or stone disease. And what I will do, I will go to National Library of Medicine, or as we call it, PubMed, and write recent topics on benign prostate enlargement or stone disease. For example, rhizomes, for example, uroliths, and then I will see what research has been done around the world in the last 5 years on that topic. So that is a very good idea on what has been done around the world and what needs to be done. Sometimes there are some researches that are never been done in your region or never been done in your country, so you can do your own local research on the same topic. So for my topic selection, I normally go to PubMed Central to get the better ideas. Next is the author selection of topic. The next thing will be selection of journal. The reason for doing it before writing an article is that there are different journals, they have different format styling, and they have different requirements of how submitting a research article. There are very minor differences, but before I write a research article, I target my journals so that I know that in what format I'm supposed to write that. For example, in some of the journals, it write an article 2,500 words or more, while others will ask you to write only 1500 to 2000 words. And some want you to write in a traditional format, and some want you to write in another format. After selecting your topic, the next best thing that you can do is the selection of your art journal basically. The most reputed journals are the PubMed index journals. They are the journals which you can find in your PubMed library, and they are the ones that are usually highly reputed and accepted in NHS as well. Another terminology that you will see is peer-reviewed journal. By peer-reviewed, we means that if I'm writing a urology paper, it will be reviewed by urologists. Qualified urologists will be reviewing it. And there will be 2 urologists provided by myself, the writer, and 2 will be blindly chosen by the journal. So if you see peer-reviewed written with a journal on a journal website, it means that it is reviewed by the peer of the same specialty. And again, as with PubMed, peer-reviewed journals are mostly highly rated. Avoid predatory journals. You will see a lot of emails in your junk and spam folder that they want you to submit an article within 1 month and blah blah blah, highly reputed and this and that with fake ISSN numbers and with fake registrations, and they will claim that they are highly reputed, but actually they are not. Generally speaking, if you see that there is a suspicion that this might not be the well-reputed journal, it's always better to get on the PubMed site, or in case of Pakistan on higher education website, or medical and dental council website, to see which are the real reputed journals. Because 99% of the time, these journals, when they email you, without you initiating the process, all of a sudden you see an email from a journal. 99% of the time they are fake and predatory. After you submit a journal, they will ask for money. So look for impact factor, you look for ISSN number on the ISSN website, not what they claim on their website. Look for the Google Scholars, Scopus, and also their X, Y, Z, and W categories, X being the highest quality of journal. This is an example that if you go to a reputed site like Higher Education Commission, you can type a journal name and see whether it is a valid journal or not. Same you can do on the PubMed site. After selection of topic and selection of your journal, what you do, you go to the journal website and see the author guidelines and see what is expected from you, how long you have to write, or what is the format, what are the headings and subheadings that they accept, and then start writing your article according to that guidelines, rather than going blindly. Now we are going to discuss a structure and section of a research article. First of all, abstract. Abstract is normally the face of an article, it's a summary, and sometimes in most of the website it is the only visible part of the research article. I'll let you click on the full S link. And also, most of the time, with paid journals, you will see that there is only abstract that is available on the free website, and in order to gain full access, you need to pay for the website. I'm just stressing this point because abstract is a part of journal that will gain interest of the reader whether he wants to read your full text or not. It is very important that you write a good abstract. This is normally 8 to 10 lines long. You can further subdivide it into background, objective, material and method, results and conclusions. Most people should be less than 100 words, or 100 to 150 words, but certainly no more than 200 words. After that, there is title is actually before that. We will talk about all of them in details. Introduction, material and method, results, discussion, conclusion, keywords, mention of conflict of interest, mention of source of funding, consent, references, or bibliography, or citable evidences. Let's go through them one by one. But before doing that, this is an example of a consent form that you have to take from every patient who is included in your data. The better the data is, and the better will be your research. But most of the journals will ask you for a consent form as a sample that you have to submit on the journal website. I have taken this form from British Medical Journal website, BMJ. This is from them. It basically mentions that the patient consent to his data being published, and as an author, it is your responsibility to keep him anonymous, and as a professional, you also have to make sure that he can withdraw his consent whenever he wants to, if he is not happy with the information that you are submitting about him. So this is one of the legal points. And also ethically, you have to take consent before you include a patient in the data. You can simply download it from the BMJ website or any other reputed journal website before you start collecting your data. Data form or data sheet should be comprehensive. It should contain the patient biodata, but when you are writing a bio article, you remove the patient details. It should be as comprehensive as possible. By comprehensive, I mean it should include maximum parameters. It should include age, gender, the parameter that you are studying. Do include 3 to 4 parameters while you are collecting your data, so that maximum benefit and maximum research articles can be driven from the same data. Sometimes data sheets are so comprehensive that you can get multiple papers out of them. It should be manageable. You should not be studying more than 3 or 2 parameters in the same research article. You need not study variations of 3, 4, 5 factors or 3, 4, 5 associations. Best is that you take one factor and one variable and in one article, and then do further research about it. Let's go to different segments of research. So abstract is normally 250 words. It is a summary, it is a quick look, or an action point, or quintessential marketing tool for an article, in which you basically present a slice of information to your reader that what you have done, what you wanted to do, and what you have achieved, and what are the material methods you have used in it. When you start writing an abstract, first of all, what you do, you, in a couple of lines or maybe more, you briefly tell the significance of writing your very research. That why you want to write this research, that why this piece of information is important for researchers and students of research around the world. Basically, the background information about how significant is your subject and how significant is your work. And basically, why do you want it to research on this topic? The same is with objective. It normally is the purpose of the study. But even and method is mainly inclusion criteria or the study group that you have taken or the intervention or parameters that you have used. Results is namesake. You know what results that you have achieved from your research, and conclusions. So abstract is basically a brief discussion of why your topic of research is significant, what you have done, how you did it, and what were your results. And based upon those results, what you have concluded. As simple as that. There is no further details that you mentioned in the abstract. Abstract is mostly 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. In simple plain sentence, you say that I have done this work. This work was needed because of this. And this is the method that I have used for this work. These are my results. And based upon these results, my conclusion is this. And all of the information should be in 150 to 200 words. So, title. Selecting a interesting title or a title that attracts the audience is very important. This is the part that is visible when you are doing a research, literature search. Your title should be reflective or appropriate for the work that you have done. Your title is not reflective and the patient title is telling you something else and the article is about something else. That will be very embarrassing for yourself and the reader will get a very bad impression and he will feel deceived that I wanted to find out something else, and when I have read it, it's a completely different thing. Make sure that title is very much what you want to do with the research. Work on should not be more than 14. It should be easily searchable words. It should contain the major medical terminologies. For example, effect of hypertension on cardiovascular diseases. People should know that you are studying the effect of blood pressure on cardiovascular diseases. It should be simple, small, yet telling you why you have it in the research. You should use the words that are popular, that will get you more citations and more reads. It should include the main factor or disease that you are studying. Sometimes you may include the population as well. For example, study of prevalence of hypertension in Pakistani population to make it more specific. Sometimes it also includes the design of the study. Some people like to add that prospective study or cohort study, but that was a relatively older way of writing. Nowadays you see many interesting titles that attract a lot of audience and get more and more citations. That is introduction. Introduction normally should generate curiosity. Now you have already written your abstract. Introduction is the first part of the detailed article. Introduction should generate curiosity to read more. It should tell you about the significance of your study, What are you aiming to achieve with it? What's new in it? And suitably balance between being very obvious and avoid unnecessary details. A research, the way of writing research should be that it should be easy to understand, but you don't have to explain each and every details. It should, normally what I do with my research, it should be at a level of a postgraduate trainee, as a postgraduate trainee reading the article. It should not be very complex, and at the same time you should not explain each and every medical technology, medical terminology that otherwise any medical student will know. This is not a textbook. This is an article. You just need to be appropriately complex, not too complex, and not too simple as well. Don't go into unnecessary details. You don't need to tell people what benign prostate enlargement is. You don't need to tell people how hypertension, what is the mechanism of hypertension. This is not your job. Your job is to focus on what you are doing. So avoid being too simple and also avoid being too complex as well. It should include 7 to 10 references. What I do if I'm writing a research paper, I normally, if I have to get, for example, 20 references, I normally place 7 to 10 in introduction and 7 to 10 in discussion. Keep that in mind that apart from introduction and discussion, you don't add any citable evidence or references in any other segment. In abstract, you don't need references. In material and method, you don't need references. In conclusion, you don't need references. Similar with results, you don't need to add references. You only add reference to introductions and discussion. Regarding introduction, it normally contains 3 paragraphs. First paragraph tell you about the background of the disease, or disease burden, or its prevalence. In the first paragraph, you try to tell that the disease that you have selected is very relevant, very significant in my population, and the work or the research work that I have presented is very important for my population. Or you can mention in a couple of sentences with references that why your research work will add something to the already existing literature in the world. Second paragraph is mainly what are the general beliefs about the research work that you have selected. What is going worldwide? What are the different studies on the same topic worldwide? And how your study is different from that? What's new in your research article? That is the second paragraph. The third paragraph is mostly local or national work, or it is a follow-up article, what has been done previously. Always end with that there was a need to study this, and then mention your work, indicating the purpose of your study. The first paragraph will be the importance of the disease that you have selected, its burden, or why you have selected this risk factor, or why you have selected this topic, and how relevant it is to your field. For example, urology, general surgery, that how relevant this disease is, and how much your community is affected from it. Second paragraph will be the worldwide work that has been done in it, and then you will slowly lead the reader to the point where you will say that this much amount of work has been done, but nobody has done a particular amount of work that I have done. and the reason for doing the work that I have done is this and this. And it helped a lot you mentioned that in your vision that on the same topic, what has been done and what you will be adding to the literature. I hope it makes sense. Next one will be material and method. In material and method, you mentioned the type of study that you have done. You have to mention that whether it's a prospective or retrospective, or what kind of study that you have done, where you have done this work, whether you have taken any ethical permission or research permission of your hospital or institution. You name the period of research. You name the parameters or the tools that you have used. What was your data collecting procedure? What parameters you have used? What variables you have used? Material and method is normally very simple and numerical. That I have collected that out on 120 patients. I have collected sample size using this formula. Patient was aged with this and this, with standard deviation of this. There were this much amount of males, this much amount of females. I have included what was my inclusion criteria, what was my exclusion criteria, and what was my data collection procedure. This is a very simple way of talking to your reader that how you reach to your conclusions. It should include the statistical analysis of your data as well. Level of significance, software use if you have any, sample size, and it help of bias assertion if you want to. For very simple data, for example, for calculating confidence interval or p-value, or for standard deviation, you might not need him, but if you feel that there is something more complex that you want to add and your data is large, involve a bias assertion to improve the quality of your article. Don't be shy that or including a bias addition that if you want to put your data and present in a presentable way to the reader. But even in method includes very clearly your inclusion criteria, your exclusion criteria. It do not contain any references, as I have mentioned before. Mention your gadgets and tools. For example, your biochemical parameters, or if you have used what the process of selection of your patient and what the process of reaching to your conclusion, whether you have used any ultrasound as your screening tool, or you have used MRI, you have used CT scan, or what, how you reach to your evidence. It basically material method. Also mention about the consent. This is very important legally. There are different with age and gender and other variables in your data. You have to mention standard deviation. There are different small YouTube videos in which you can see that how to do calculation of a standard deviation. This is very simple. What you do, you take mean of all your values and then calculate the difference of mean of each value from the mean. And you do square of each difference, add them, and then divide them by n minus 1. And the square root of variance is your standard deviation. Results. Results also do not contain any references. They do not contain any commentary or discussion. You don't have to give your general opinions about anything. You just give 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. that I have done this amount on this much amount of bacon, and these are my results. You need not repeat material and method here. Do not use phrases as surprisingly or interestingly. You can use both S, tables and figures, but only use one of them. You have already explained something in your text. You don't need to add a table. Table and figures are there to, number one, to attract the audience, and also to help you to get rid of too much text material. If you don't want to write too many lines or too much of that you have to present, as a result, you make tables and figures and pie charts. You need not repeat the same information that you have already given in your text. Table should be giving you something new. And data, as I have mentioned before, the data is numerical. You need to do the standard deviations as well. This is the most interesting part of an article. In introduction, if you remember, we explained that in 3 paragraphs. First paragraph was the background and significance of research. Second was significance of your own work and what you have added in already as existing worldwide literature. And the third paragraph was about what had been done worldwide and why there was a need to study. Why there was a need to further study. Discussion is normally complementing your introduction. It starts with a brief recap of main finding of your study. That in this research we have found this and this and this. But in recap, do not repeat your results. The hints that you have already mentioned in your results, you don't need to give it again on discussion. Just rephrase in a way that shows the all of your results. Compare your results in the second paragraph. Compare your results with the similar credible studies done worldwide with references. Again, you should not criticize other studies, yet remain relevant to your studies. And try to use soft words and be diplomatic about it. If you have a general disagreement from another research, you can mention it politely that my research had got different result from another research. That might be due to this, that might be due to that. Don't contradict a research that is already published. It looks bad. Force your reader to believe that this is not just another paper, but a very significant progress in your literature. And at the very end, again, mention your shortcomings. Criticize your own work, so that there is a room for improvement. That what will you do in your further research? Again, in 3 paragraphs, yet like introduction. First is yet rephrasing of your results in a way that they don't look copy-paste. Second is worldwide comparison from study. For example, if there is a similar study in India, there is a similar study in China, there is a similar study in UK or USA, you need to mention that in recent years, similar to our study, this work has been done in different parts of the country, of the world, and you compare their results with your own results. You also give the logic that why your results were different from their results. And in the third paragraph, you give comparison of your own national work that has been done here. And at the very end, you do a self-analysis and mention your shortcomings, like my data was small, I want to do further researches on a larger data, or you can mention that I only did this research on older patients, I would have liked it on younger patients as well. Or you're taking a parameter, for example, in urology, I've only done this research on 40 to 80 gram of prostate. I would like it to do on bigger, more complex prostate or more complicated cases, and I need to address this in my follow-up researches. And this is a good way of writing a discussion. Conclusion. Conclusion is just 2 to 3 sentences, or including your study or work done on the basis of your result, and evidence that you have presented. Again, it should not be copy and paste of your results. Conclusion is the very old knowledge that of the evidence that you have presented above. That based upon my results, I have this conclusion. Now, as I have mentioned that in introduction and in discussion, you need references. So how to collect references? A very good way of finding references is to go on PubMed Central or National Library of Medicine. Put your topic or main keywords in the search bar. Different topics will appear. You can even select on the very left side, you will find different options of finding in last 5 years, last 10 years. So if you select last 5 years, write something related to your article or whatever you want to find evidence about. For example, if I have mentioned that benign prostate enlargement is a disease of old age that is very common in male population. Now I will search for evidence showing that this is a very common disease, number one. And number two, this is fairly common in old age. This is just an example. I will find an article that support my information. And whenever you open an article on the PubMed, on the extreme right side of your screen, you will see CITE, cite. So if you click on that, you can copy the site information and then add reference to your article. Then when we have 20 references, this should be widely accepted. While mentioning your references, try to make sure that they are free access and open to public. If they are not, you might be subjected to copyrights, or you might have to pay to unlock the information. What I do in my research is I only take references that are open access and only those references that are available as full article on a public free access website. There should be equally distributed in introduction and discussion. PubMed, Medline, Google Scholar are very good sources. References. Each reference has a DOI number, that is digital object identifier, or a URL, www. And always follow your general guideline for styling of your references. In introduction and discussion, when we are writing the references, they are normally seen as a superscript or with the brackets or with plain brackets as exemplified. For modern language association, there is the MLA format. APA is for education and psychology. For medical and health sciences, we normally take Vancouver style or NLM, National Library of Medicine number, or ANS, or the number system, or AMA, American Medical Association number. So these are the four I have highlighted in green, that these are the different formats that we as a doctor we use these. For example, when you are using the Vancouver styling, it should include authors, title, dot, edition, date of publication, publisher, and year. It has been exemplified below. You will find it on the website. If you click on the site, it will appear in different format. Make sure that you choose Vancouver styling or APA format. And this is how you do it. So I have opened an article in the left window. I click on the site, and this is how it will open. And it very clearly mentioned on the format that this is NLM format. If you want to change the format, it will allow you to do so. But NLM or APA is acceptable in medical sciences. It basically makes your job very easy. You just copy this information, and then in the reference segment of your article, you write number 1, paste. Again, you find another topic, number 2, copy paste. There are different, now that most of the softwares are, that journals are, using is OJS. They normally have an online submitting system. And some of the well-written journals they also have a reference converter or a reference launcher. For example, you can find it in Curious Journal that you need not to spend any time on converting your reference into the format that is required by the journal. 90% of the time it will be in APA or Vancouver. But if you feel like that they are not in a suitable format, there are different softwares available across the internet. Cite this for me, my web, citation machine, or on the different journal sites. You can just copy all your references, paste it on the bar, and click on reference conversion, and it will convert all the references into whatever format you like. This is an example of how a screen will look like. If you open an article, it will open all the author information, as well as it will open the similar articles. You keep on going deep and deep into your literature search and keep on collecting the information you like. For example, if I like this article, I will go down and click on the site that I like the information, I will like to cite it, and then paste it on my references. And at the very end of this presentation, we go to conflict of interest and source of funding. This is what the journals will be asking you, that whether you have any conflict of interest or source of funding. Mostly the larger researches or the national research, they are funded by organizations or government, or there is a noble work going on. They are sponsored sometimes by pharmaceutical companies. You have to mention that what was your source of funding. The reason for mentioning this is that the reader should know that this is where the fund is coming from. This is a government funded research, or this is a pharmaceutical company funded research. So he has the right to information and make a judgment on your research work, that what you're trying to achieve with it, and where the money is coming from this regarding this data. Anything that interferes with or would reasonably be perceived that interfering with. Perception is also important. The objective of your presentation, commissioning, peer review, decision-making process on publication. Examples of conflict of interest: comparison of efficacy and safety between M-Solution and URS surgery for 1.5 centimeter mercury electrode. Seems very innocent that you are comparing a drug to a surgery. But when you see sponsored by a pharmaceutical, then you know they will be pushing for the drug rather than the surgery because they want to sell their medicine. So this is an example of conflict of interest. The company names that I have written are just example. I have nothing against these companies. They are very respectable in their own field. I'm just giving examples. For example, research articles on COVID vaccines sponsored by Pfizer or sponsored by the same company that it was in these vaccinations, stressing upon the importance of getting vaccinated. So there is a conflict of interest. I'm not saying that it will be wrong if Pfizer publish a research on COVID vaccine. That's not my point. My point is that if there is an article on COVID vaccine, a reader has the information, right for information to know that this is sponsored by Pfizer. Most famous example were in year 2020 during the pandemic, and there were a lot of articles on the relation of vitamin D with morbidity and mortality related to coronavirus, and sale of vitamin D drugs and injections. They went up by 1,000 times because there were famous publishers and journals that are writing articles that if you buy my product A, B, or C, it will help you in getting immunity against coronavirus. Again, vitamin D just an example. So these are just an example. I'm not blaming anyone. Again, you should also explain that if you have any relationship to employee of the editorial board. It's not like that if you have a relation working professional or personal relation with the editorial board, you are not allowed to publish that kind of article. Yes, you have to mention it to the reader that this is my conflict of interest, but I have like to maintain this to make sure about the integrity of my work. It just a reader's right to know the statement of conflict of interest and source of funding. Nothing more than that. Nobody is challenging your credibility. Nobody is challenging your integrity. This is just a reader's right to information, to make his own judgment. At the very end, we know that you need to mention keywords or medical subject headings. Mesh. This is a software where you can find hashtags for your articles. So these are basically keywords, or in modern language what we call hashtags. You can add 5 to 10 keywords that a person it make your article to be easily discoverable. If you add more popular words, it will be easier for the article to appear on a search website. It makes your article more discoverable. Make sure you include relevant tags without enlargement, while without editor, robotic, AI. Use popularism relevant to your article so that they help you to make your article get more reads, get more citations. Assurance. Sometimes the publisher will ask you about a title page, a separate document that will include the name and title of the author's work on number of figures and table. Sometimes they ask you about a declaration form that is containing the undertaking signatures of the author. Sometimes a covering letter to the editor that I have done this work and this is what I'm trying to achieve, and this is in line with your article policy. Can you please publish this? And sometimes they provide you with a checklist that you have to complete. And it varies again according to what journal you are writing on. Most of the journals they follow this OJS system. You can, as you can see, that you can upload everything on it. Your main article, your title page, your plagiarism report, and your fee, submission fee. And then using the same system, the editor or the sub-editor will go through your details, give you a feedback, you reply electronically with the improvements until to the point that it's ready for submission. So most of the journals are using this online system on OJS. Recommended article search, it mostly to PubMed, but you can also use Google Scholar. It will filter the information that you find normally on Google about patient information and what a layman should know. Google Scholar is different from Google in a sense that it only contains information about articles and research work, and it filters the information that is on Google, or for example, for a layman. You can also create your Google profile. I have done here, containing your major work to make it more readable and more discoverable. And lastly, we'll go to ChatGPT similarities and plagiarism. You know more than me that there are different paraphrasing tools available and ChatGPT available for writing an article. But although these software are available, I don't recommend using them. You can only use them for getting an information, but you cannot copy paste or add information or add references from ChatGPT to your main article, because it will be very easy for the editorial board to find out that information from ChatGPT. And it will go under the heading of plagiarism. There are different paraphrasing tools available. If you feel like that you have written an article and you are not happy with the language or vocabulary, because for most of us, English is not the first language, we can paraphrase it to make it look more scientific. But don't do it in upside down. Don't try to copy and paste and a paragraph from another article and then put it in paraphrase. That is plagiarism. Use your paraphrasing tools other way around, that you have written an article already. Now you want to improve its language and grammar. So use paraphrasing for that. And then we will talk about case reports. They are also a part of quality improvement projects. And it is very similar to writing a research article. I'm trying my best to finish under 1 hour. Case reports is basically just similar to article, but this is less demanding. It's a lower level of research, easy to publish. It again an title, abstract, introduction, and in place of material method, or results, you get ACE presentation. In the ACE presentation, you write that this is how my patient presented, this what I read, this what I examined, these were the labs, these were the radiological investigation, and this is something that I find in histopathology. Basically, what is the story behind the ACE presentation? This session will be very similar to any research article that we have already discussed. Introduction is again very similar. That will be very similar, based upon the same principles. Conclusion, consent, and source of funding will also be same. The only thing that will differ is your ACE presentation. ACE presentation will be similar to the way you present your ACE file in any local presentation to your professor or to your consultant. That what the history examination and what the things that you have find out. They also contain pathology and histology. Clinical audits, we know, they are very popular, and it is expected that you write audit and all improvement projects. So clinical audits and basically local and global. And audit is basically comparing the guidelines of what is going around worldwide with what your department is doing. For example, if you are supposed to admit the patient or ureteroscopy, treat him and send him home on the same day according to guideline. You compare it in your department over the last 100 patients or 200 patients, that whether all the patients had gone home on the same day as per guidelines or as per policy. If not, what are the factors that prevented in following the guidelines, and what are the remedies? Audit is basically just comparing the guidelines with your departmental achievement and how you can make them better, and what are the factors that are preventing you to make them better. So keep on doing clinical audits, keep on doing your ACE presentations, and keep on doing article reviews. Go to journal websites, for example, UVS or any other BMGA, and go to article reviews. If you have read 10 to 20 articles about a subject, you will get considerable knowledge of writing that article in the same subject. So if you have just started to write in a research paper, write in clinical audits, write in presentations, write in article reviews, it's a good way of getting an entry or getting an idea that how people are writing the research worldwide. You get the same approach. You review more and more articles, you write audits, you write ACE presentation. Ultimately, you get the same momentum to your article writing as well. So thank you very much for your patience. If you have any questions, you can write in your in the comment sections. And thank you very much for listening.